Hi guys, so second lesson on horizontal motion. Just a reminder, so last lesson we went through the Suat formulae, which were these 5 over here. And this lesson we're just gonna see how we use them in different questions. Now, just before we move on, one thing I didn't discuss last lesson was deceleration. Deceleration basically means the object is slowing down. What that means is your value of A will be negative. Right, so it can be -1, -2, -3, and so on, or decimals. But it's definitely gonna be negative. Now in the question they can use different terms. They can say deceleration, or they can say slowing down, or they can say an object starts coming to a rest or starts coming to a stop. So that usually gives you a hint that it's decelerating. Okay. Now, the way to tackle some of the questions is always draw a diagram. This helps you imagine what's happening in the situation, right? Then you label any Suat values in the question, okay? And then see which formula contains all of these values. So we'll look at a quick example. When I show you a question, it would be a good idea for you to just pause it, pause the video, have a read of the question, and then resume it while I'm solving it. Or you can try solving it yourself. Okay, now once you've read the question, let's draw a diagram. Now in horizontal motion, we generally take the positive direction towards the right. So that's what we're gonna continue using. Right, so the car passes a pillar box and then it passes a lamppost. Okay, so the pillar box would be P and the lamp post, let's label that L. Now let's say this is the starting point, P, and your ending point is at L. Okay. It says the car is traveling at 8 when it passes P. So your starting speed, your starting velocity is 8, and they have given you the time it takes to pass. So the time would be 12. Okay. And they've given you the acceleration, which is 0.75. And so that's all the information we have. Now, part A is asking us to find the distance between the pillar box and the lamppost. Right? Now, what you need to do is you need to see which formula connects. Right? We need to find the distance, which is S. Okay, so we need to see which formulas have A, T, U, and S. These are the 4 values we have written down. Okay, so A, T, U, and S, we can use that. We can use this formula here, S equals UT plus half AT square. Let's write that here. Once you've written that, you substitute your values. Now S is missing, so keep that as S. U is 8 and T is 12. Okay, plus half. A is 0.75 and then T square. Okay. And now let's evaluate this. We get 96 plus 54, which gives you 150. Okay, so this is part A. And Part B is asking you to find the speed. Okay, the speed at the lamppost. So we want the speed here. Now the final speed is v. So we need to find out v. Okay, now we've got ATUS now as well, and we need to find v. So we need to get a formula which connects v and any of the other three. Right? So let's use, first one is the easiest. V equals U plus AT. Right. Then you substitute your values. Right, you don't need the units, but obviously it's a good idea to write it down. Okay? You won't lose any marks if you don't write the units. So V is 17. Okay? Now let's go to the next question. Again, you can pause it and have a read yourself. Right, so always draw a diagram. We have A and B. Right, at A the particle has speed 3, and they've told you the distance is 16 and acceleration is 1.5. So you've got A, S and U, and we need to find V, which is the speed at B. Okay, so find a formula which connects V, U, A and S, which would be this one here. Right, once you've written the formula, you just substitute the values. So V square equals 3 square plus 2 times A times S. Right, so V square is equal to 57, and then in order to find V, we have to square root. So you can write it as square root 57, or you can write 7.55. It's entirely up to you. If the question says 2 decimal place or 3 significant figures, then obviously you have to write in this form. If a question says exact answer, then you have to write in a square root form. Right, next one, again, pause it and try to have a go yourself. So we've got a shop. Going to label the shop as A, okay, and the street sign would be B. Now they haven't given you the speed where she passes the shop. Okay, so this is the starting speed. Now we don't know the speed, so we just put a question mark, which is U. Okay, and she passes the street sign when she's traveling at 8. Okay. And the distance is 60 meters. And the time is 10 seconds. Okay, so this is slightly different. We need to find u instead of v. Okay, but our values are u, v, s, and t. So u, v, s, and t, we can use. One second. They want you to find. Okay, sorry. First, they want acceleration. My bad. Yeah, because it says find the acceleration. So we can use. We need v, s, t, and a. Right. So v, s, t, and a. We can use the last formula here. So let's substitute our values. So s is 60, v is 8, t is 10, no space. Right, so we've substituted our values, okay, and once you've done that, you need to rearrange to find a. So 60 equals 80. Okay. Now, 10 square is 100. 100 times half is 50. So that would become 50a. Okay. Now, in order to rearrange, I will move 80 to the left. So 60 minus 80 equals minus 50a. And then in order to find a, I will move minus 50 to the left. Right, so that becomes dividing by negative 50, and that will give you a equals 0.4. Right, so this is part A. For part B, they're asking for the speed with which she passed the shop, which is your u. Okay, so we need a formula which connects u, v, s, t. We can also use a now because we've got a. Okay, but it definitely needs to have a u because that's what we are finding. Okay, so let's choose the first formula. And substitute the values. So v is 8, u we do not know, so keep that as u. A is 0.4 and t is 10. Right, so your value of u would be 4. Right, next question. So this has a few parts, so you can pause it and have a read. Right, now some keywords in the question. So constant speed means acceleration is 0. Okay, because acceleration means your speed is increasing. But because your speed is constant, that means your acceleration is 0. You are not speeding up. You're staying the same. Okay. Now, this one has 3 journeys. Okay, so the first journey, it leaves the bus stop. Now, when a bus leaves the bus stop, at the bus stop, it's at rest, right? It stopped to take the passengers. So at that point, the speed is 0. So the starting speed is 0. It leaves the bus stop, accelerates at 0.8 seconds. Sorry, accelerates at 0.8 for 5 seconds. Okay, and at this point, which is your v, it starts going at constant speed. Okay, so if we find the v over here, that would be your constant speed, because that's where it's starting to travel Right, so it says after 5 seconds, the bus is at constant speed. Right, so if you look at the diagram, after the 5 seconds are over, at this point, the bus will reach constant speed. Okay, so this is the speed we need to find out, which is v, because it's the final speed for the first part of the journey. We will divide the journey into different parts. Okay. So u is 0, a is 0.8, t is 5. We need to find v. So which formula connects all of these? So that would be the first one. Right, so v is 4. Now this is the constant speed. So that's part A done. Part B says the total distance while the bus is accelerating. Okay, so in this part of the journey, the bus is accelerating, right? Because A is 0.8. In the next part, the bus will be at constant speed. Constant speed means A is 0. So that's not acceleration, because it's not accelerating. Right? So we need to find the distance in this part of the journey, because this is where the bus is accelerating. Okay, so we need a formula for S. We can choose, let's say, the third one. Right, so half, u is 0, v is 4, which we found here, and t is 5. So that should give us 10. Right, now the third part says the total distance traveled. Okay, now there's 3 parts to the journey. The first one we've done over here. Okay, the second part will be at constant speed. Okay. Now the speed here was 4. Right, so that means for this next part of the journey, the speed will also be 4. So the u will be 4, v will be 4, a will be 0. Okay, because it's constant speed, not accelerating. Okay, constant speed means the speed stays the same. So it starts at 4, ends at 4, and the time would be it says it's constant speed for 2 minutes. Okay, we always have to use seconds, right? Because time in mechanics we use seconds, right? So 2 minutes is 120 seconds. Okay, so t will be 120, and we need to find the distance. So we need to find s. Right, now again I'm going to use the third formula. Okay, so s equals half u plus v, so 4 plus 4, times by t, which is 120. Okay, so that would give you 480 meters. Okay. And you could have also used some of the other formulas as well, so that's completely fine. For the third part of the journey, now remember keywords. So slowing down means deceleration. Okay, so it's slowing down at 0.4. Okay, so let's do the third part. Okay, so for the third part of the journey, a will be negative 0.4. That's deceleration because it's slowing down. Okay, now the speed, remember the speed was 4 here, right? So it starts at 4 and then it slows down to rest. Okay, so you can see it comes to a rest. Now when it comes to a rest, that means it stops. So the final speed would be 0. Okay, a is minus 0.4, which we already have done. Okay, Again, we need to find the distance, which is s. Right, so u, v, a, and s, we can use the formula, this one here, the fourth one. Okay, so v square would mean 0 square equals u square, which is 4 square, plus 2 minus 0.4 times s. Right, expand the values, so 16 minus 0.8 s. Now I'm going to move minus 0.8 s to the other side, so it becomes positive 0.8 s equals 16 . Okay, so that gives you 20. Right, for the last part of the journey, your distance traveled is 20. Okay, and then to find the total distance, which they said in the question, you add the distances for the 3 parts. Okay, so we had 10, 480, and 20. If you add all 3 of these, that will give you 510 meters. Okay, this is the last example. There's a worksheet link in the description. Make sure you try that before moving on to the next video.